Well, hello, everyone. It is Dr. Brandy B, and it is Friday. And you know what we do on Fridays? We do Focus on It Friday. So come on in, grab all your friends, everybody. You know who has a child with ADHD, who they may think their child has ADHD. They don't know their child has ADHD, but you do any or all of that. You're a teacher and you're on your lunch break, or you waited until after hours and you are actually now watching from the comfort of your home on a Friday with a nice cold glass of water or whatever it is that you choose to drink. Come on in, let everybody know that we're here with Dr. Brandy B. And guess what we're talking about today? Report cards and ADHD. Come on in. Let me see you when you get here. We are going to give people a few more minutes to come on in. I know it takes you all a while to find me, but come on in and we will get started. I'm so excited about this because I always get the question, well, Dr. Brandy B, my child makes all A's, or Dr. Brandy B, my child is not doing well in school at all, or Dr. Brandy B, sometimes we do very well and then sometimes we don't. But we are going to talk about it tonight, today, this afternoon, this morning, wherever you are. We are going to talk about it right now. Erica Harris is in the building and she says, hello, my beautiful sister. And I say, hello right back to you, darling. We thank you for coming over and joining us now. We are going on, oh my goodness, I thought it was just a year, but we're actually coming up on 2 years for Focus on It Friday. And I'm super excited about that. Come on in, share the video with someone. Let them know that we are here for Focus on It Friday. I don't see it on my page, but it's got to be there. There it is. Let me share it on a friend's timeline. Let's see how this will work. I don't know if it will work, but we are going to try it. And I want you all to share it too. I see that we have some more people coming on in. Let me know who you are when you get here. Auntie Julia says good afternoon. And I say good afternoon to you too, Auntie Julia. Thank you for coming over and sharing like you always do here on Focus on It Friday. Today, guys, we are going to be talking about report cards and ADHD. I know that's always a hot topic. My children are in Birmingham City Schools, and Birmingham City Schools got their report cards actually last week on the 12th, I think they came out. And so I know that there are some parents who are extremely happy, and there are some parents who are probably not so happy, but we want to do whatever it is that we can to get you all informed about what is going on. Hello there, Miss Jill. Thank you so much for joining us today here at Focus on It Friday. I'm just going to try to share to my page and then we will get started. I hope I can do it. Let's see if I can do it. I don't know if I can or not, but we're going to try right now. And then we will not prolong the time. Yes, I'm able to do it. All right. ADHD. If I could spell report, there we go. Report cards and ADHD. There we go. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining. I need to go back to the other page. I wish I could do all this stuff before, but that is all right. We will get it done. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started, guys. I am Dr. Brandy B. Oh, we've had someone else to show. Let's see who that is that has come. We've got, let's see, Medrit Smith, I think it is. Hello, Medrit says. And I say hello to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Focus on It Friday. I'm not going to hold y'all long. I promise. I know I say that every time, but I'm not going to do it today. We're going to get out of here by 12:25. We're going to do that. So whoever is sneaking and watching me at lunch, you can enjoy the whole thing, get back to lunch, and then you can watch it again and share it if you'd like. But I'm Dr. Brandy B., your triple board certified child and adolescent psychiatrist. And through my Facebook live stream, Focus on It Friday, my speaking engagements, educational tips that I do for educators, parents, my book, Shine, Understanding ADHD So Your Child Can Be a Star. I do all of these things so that I can help moms, dads, and anybody who has an interest in children get the education that they need so that their child can be successful in the classroom and in life. Welcome to Focus on It Friday. Thank you so much for joining me. We also have Miss Stephanie Perry who has come in. Hello and thank you. And we've got Miss April Weatherby coming in. She says, hello, Dr. Brandy. And I say hello back to you and thank you for joining. So today we're going to talk about report cards and ADHD. Now, everybody is probably a little bit concerned. I know I get a little bit nervous when my children come home and they present me with some work that they've done, right? Because in some ways we're like, this is representative of me as a parent. Whatever it is that my child has done, it also is representative of me because oftentimes, especially in the younger children, we've helped them with that homework. So that means that that's partly our grade, right? Right. Okay. Even if we had to help them, some parents do it all themselves. In some ways, what their child has earned is a reflection truly of what it is that we have done, what we were able to do, and when we assisted them. So it's a big deal when we get report cards. Now, some people argue you shouldn't be grading kids. We're teaching them, to not love learning, but to love getting A's. Some people may say, hey, if you love getting A's, then it looks like to me you learned it, or at least you memorized it long enough to pass the test. I'm not really sure. But whatever the case may be, that report card day can be anxiety provoking for both the parents and also for the child. So what we want to do today is just spend a few brief moments talking about what it means if your child has ADHD and what their report card may look like. Now, briefly, and we're going to spend the next year and several years, I'm going to talk about ADHD until I've cured it or I'm blue in the face, whichever of those things happens first, okay? So ADHD is a neurobiologic disorder. It's also a neurobehavioral disorder. Neurologic means that it is from the brain. It stems from the brain, which means that you didn't do anything wrong necessarily. And it also means that it is a part of that child or that person. All right. Behavioral means that it's going to impact their behaviors, which is why you're getting called from the school, whether it be that the child cannot focus, whether it be that the child cannot stay seated, whether it be that the child is loud, or whether it be that the child is not doing well academically. It is the behavior that is causing the teacher to then call you and say, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, we need to have a conversation. All right. And so we said neurobiologic, we know that it runs in families. So a dad asked me one day this week, could it be possible that my child has this because I had it? And the answer to that question is yes, absolutely. I speak about in my book, Shine, Understanding ADHD So Your Child Can Be a Star, what the percentages are that we can expect to see ADHD in a child if one or both of those parents actually have ADHD. Miss Keene is back and she is in the building. Miss Keene, welcome back to the great state of Alabama. We are so excited to have you and Happy New Year. So it's neurologic, it's biologic, and it is also behavioral. It's all of those things. So there is nothing to be ashamed of if your child has ADHD. We just need to treat it like we would anything else that's medically related, and we need to treat it whatever that means for you. Now, we know that generally what ADHD is. The other thing is that we need to know what ADHD looks like. There are 3 types of ADHD, and everybody over here who's been coming to Focus on It Friday now for almost 2 years, at least a year and a half, you all know that ADD is no longer a terminology that we use, okay? That is old nomenclature. But if you were to tell me, I think my child has ADD, I'd be able to know what you were talking about. So there is ADHD, and there happen to be 3 types that you can have. You can have a predominantly inattentive presentation. You can have a predominantly hyperactive impulsive presentation, and then you can have a combined presentation. We will spend the next several weeks talking about what those are and go into depth about what they look like. I also spend, of course, a whole lot of time talking about what they are and what they look like in my book. All right. But for today, I want to talk about the report card. I want to talk specifically about the report card. Let's shine is what Sis Erica says. Absolutely. Y'all know I want everybody to shine, whether they be in the classroom or in life. Okay. So now when we're talking about these report cards, so we got this report card and it's all A's. Yippee. Hallelujah. As my 7-year-old says, praise the God. Yes, praise the God. And I'll just get into one day telling them, first of all, baby, we don't use that. And second of all, it's just one God that we have over here. But regardless, praise God, they got all A's. This is absolutely fantastic. Let's go out to eat. And then the mom is going to say, this child cannot have ADHD because this child has all A's on his report card. I want you to know right now that that is not true. Making all A's does not mean that the child cannot or does not have ADHD. And I know you're like, well, Dr. Brandy B, you're going to have to tell us some more about that. And I absolutely will tell you. So you may get a report card and you say, oh my goodness, my child has A's and B's. My child can't have ADHD. And then you're going to say, but my child is used to making all A's, so he's still sad. And so now you're spending the rest of the afternoon and the evening telling this child, oh, but it's okay. It's still A's and B's. It's still on a roll. You still did it. And this is the first year that this child has ever made a B, but the child has been making more and more B's as this year has gone along. And this child happens to be in the 3rd grade or the 5th grade or the 7th grade. Then I'm going to say, oh, okay, this is interesting. So we'll talk about that. And then the last thing you may say is that, Dr. Brandy B, my child has always been on the honor roll. And this year we have slipped into C's and D's. And then parents use this phrase and kids do more so that they have high C's. And I always remind them, C's are good, but a high C, if you are able to make B's, high C's is just a punch to me. Just a juice, just a juice. We want kids to shine, not have a flicker of light, but to actually shine. And so that's what we help them do. Now let's talk about the all A report card. All A report card. It is typical. Now I'm not going to give y'all everything now because y'all got to get shine and read it. But I do want you to know that your daughter is not going to present in the same fashion that your son will in the younger ages, right? Your daughter may sit quietly in her chair. She may not have a single complaint at all from the teacher, except that she talks too much. And she may continue to make all A's because she listens just enough and she has the intellectual capacity, or she is AKA smart enough to be able to keep those grades up. So I do not want you, mom and dad, to say my child cannot have ADHD because my child has all A's, especially if you are dealing with a young lady, especially if you are dealing with a child, even who, boy or girl, who you have even recognized and teachers have recognized is extremely smart, because these children, especially in those lower, younger grades, will be able to keep their grades up. And even over into, the middle school years, if they are extremely intelligent and able to stay up on their work just enough, they will be able to keep all A's. So do not be fooled by the fact that they are making all A's. They could still have ADHD. Now, when we are talking about the child who has all A's and a couple of B's, they're getting more and more B's as the year progresses. Keep in mind that this child can also have ADHD too. What happens is, and you'll hear me talk about the odd numbered grades. So 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, and 11th grades. My educator friends tell me that these are the grades which new standards, with meaning new material, is introduced. And also during these grades, children are introduced to their standardized tests. Now my educators are going to know more about that than I do, but I hang out with a lot of teachers and educators, and so this is what they have told me. So what happens on a standardized test? It's extremely quiet in the room, but if somebody sneezes, coughs, a bird chirps, somebody starts scratching their eraser real violently on the paper, your child with ADHD is going to get distracted. Well, what's going to happen then? When they get distracted, they're going to look away. And when they look away, they might stay away for a long period of time. The rest of us in the room may say, what in the world? Why are they erasing so violently? They're making so much noise. It's just, it's just a bubble. But they are going to look and they're going to imagine all the ways that they could be erasing. They're going to think of all the different materials that make up erasers. Then they may look and see a bird outside. And before they know it, time is up. time is up. They're running out of time. And so now we have a situation where on a standardized test, they did not score as well as they could have, or on just their everyday spelling test, they did not do as well as they could have because they ran out of time. These are the children that are always running out of time. Now, I know we're talking about report cards and I know we're talking about children, but keep in mind, this same thing can happen to your college student or even your child or yourself if you're in professional school. It can also happen if you're a big time CEO, professional, or whatever else. You're running late for meetings. You've procrastinated. And so you didn't start to get ready for the meeting in enough time. And so you've now run out of time. So you find yourself having to go to the meeting late and or unprepared because you did not plan far enough in advance. You got distracted and now you have lost time. All right. So that is how we need to look at it with the kid who has the A's and more B's than they've ever had before, especially if they're in an odd numbered grade. It could be that they are having problems and gradually they are beginning to show signs that is impacting their grades. And so we want to get on top of that before the child starts to actually make these, quote, high C's, and also before their self-esteem takes a huge hit. All right, we've had some people to come in. Mama Diane Rudolph says, hello, Dr. Brandy B, my sunshine. I say hello to you. We've got Miss Sadie Gresham. She says, hello, Dr. Brandy B. And she says hello to everyone else. Thank you so much, Miss Sadie, for coming over. Y'all, that's Miss Auntie Sadie, because one day I messed up and called her Auntie. And so since that time, she has been Miss Auntie Sadie, and we appreciate her for hanging in here with us for the entirety of our show. We also have Catrice Maddox. She says, is this behavior similar to kids with autism spectrum disorder? That's a wonderful question, and we thank you for asking it, and we also welcome you to the show. So children who have autism spectrum disorder can also have ADHD. Those disorders are not mutually exclusive, meaning that you can have them both. Every child who has autism spectrum disorder does not have ADHD. But certainly, I am not surprised if I have a child who is autistic and they also have ADHD. In fact, I look for it because I know that it commonly occurs in children who are autistic. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, let me know. Thank you for that question. We've got Auntie Jessie coming in. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us at Dr. Brandy B's Focus on It Friday. And we have Dr. Fagans out of Nashville, Tennessee. And she says, hello, sis. I say hello right back to you. We thank you for joining us today. And thank you for giving all that good care that you're giving to your patients over in Nashville. So so now we've talked about the kid who is making all A's and how they absolutely can have ADHD even while making all A's. And we have the case, we just talked about the case of a child who is making more and more B's after having made all A's. And this child is in an odd numbered grade. And so we are wondering what in the world is going on with that child. Yes, that child can have ADHD, and they are showing us that these grades are starting to slip, okay? And then the last case is the child who either has more C's and D's and elemental P's than you wish for them to have, and they wish for themselves. And it may be that there has been a child who you absolutely knows the material. You know that everything is right there in their brains, but for some reason they cannot get it to the paper or the Scantron. And so they have never made the honor roll. And guess what? That's okay, because Dr. Brandy B turns all things into honor roll if the ability is there to do it, right? And so we know that in either case, if the child is able to make the grade with treatment, they will. Now, somebody may say, well, my child is being adequately treated and we still, the best that we can do is a C. And you know what I'm going to tell you? Kudos to you and that child, because you first acknowledge that the best that you can do is a C, and that child consistently makes C's. It sounds to me that child is performing at maximum potential, and we are going to meet that child where they are. We're going to encourage them gently to do better if they can, and then we're going to find a career path that complements the fact that they can do C work very, very well. All right. Now, Miss Catrice says, yes, that answers my question very well. Thank you so much for asking. We definitely like to answer all questions over here at Dr. Brandy B. Now, I know we've spent, I said I was going to let y'all go at 12:25. It's 12:24. I know we spent this time talking about report cards, but I want to let you know and just remind you, if you've been following me, you understand that ADHD is about so much more than grades. We have to focus on everything that we do: getting ready in the morning, driving a vehicle, saying no to drugs. That is definitely can be an impulsive thing for some. And then for some, remember, it's a genetic thing as well. So the social piece, not having people who want to be around you because you talk so much and you blurt and interrupt when they're trying to talk to you. And so it's a social problem. It's an emotional problem. Remember, I told you we want to catch these kids' grades before they really start to decline, because then what happens is you get the teacher calling you saying, Johnny just won't pay me any attention. He says, I'm not the boss of him. He says he doesn't want to do it. He lays his head down on the desk. Or a kid that starts to say things like, I'm no good, I'm a failure, I'm dumb, right? This is what happens. That is the emotional piece, or the emotional piece related to academics, right? That lowered self-esteem. But ADHD is these people can be extremely irritable. They fly off the handle. You tell them hello and they say, Rawr, and you're trying to figure out what in the world just happened, because 10 seconds ago, they were happy and nothing happened. And now they're screaming at you and you're confused. And you bring them in to me and you want me to treat them for, what is that people always say? Anger management. You want me to treat them for anger management. And I'm like, have you not noticed that this child can't sit still? This child can't focus. And then you tell me, oh, he's just a boy. Okay, well, then at that point, I'm going to give you a little bit of education. And then we're going to let you and that little bit of a boy just go right on home until you all decide at some point, maybe that little boys don't behave like this. Maybe this is something extra. Maybe this is something unique. Maybe this is something that we might need Dr. Brandy B or someone like her for. All right. So that is what I want you to take away. I want you to take away today. Remember that when I started, that ADHD is neurobiologic, which means it's neurologic. It's in our brains. We didn't do anything. Now, some moms may have done some things. A kid may have had some head trauma. Those are extenuating circumstances. But generally, it happened. We don't know why, but nobody is to blame. The other thing is that it is genetic. Parents can have it. And yes, they can, as folks say, give it to their kid. The third thing, it is behavioral. And that is why the teacher is calling you, because the child is having these behaviors. Let's see, Dr. Encarica. Hello, my good classmate from Meharry. She says, hello, so good. Thank you so much, Dr. Encarica. It's always a treat and a pleasure and an honor when my colleagues stop by and see me. So thank you so much. Ms. Catrice says, what is your advice for parents who are in denial about their child having ADHD? Oh my goodness. So Ms. Catrice, usually denial, as you say, usually when parents are not willing to accept it. And here's the real deal. We as parents know when something is going on with our child. So we're not in denial. We're just refusing to do what we need to do. And the reason that can be, Ms. Catrice, is because we're either embarrassed, we think that we have done something, or, we wonder, what will our friends say about us? What will our mother say about us? What will our spouses say about us? And will they blame us for something? What will society say about us? We don't want our kids labeled. These are all some of the things that I've had. And so it's not just denial. The reason that people get defensive and say, ain't nothing wrong with him, when you mention it, is because they already know. They already know. And when people come to me and they hear me say it and validate it, it can be heartbreaking and earth-shattering to them, simply because now someone who has the authority, expertise, knowledge to actually say that what they have been fearing is so, that's too much for them to handle. That's too much for them to handle. And so what I tell parents is to try very hard to get beyond all of the things that I've just named and think about the child. Because the child is the one who suffers. The child is the one who's always in trouble. The child is the one who's making fruit punch for grades when in fact they could be making A's and B's. So no high C's around here if you can make A's and B's. But we've got to be able to put our needs, our desires, our embarrassment, our inability to stand up and say, I am taking care of my baby in the best way that I know how to. We've got to be able to put those things aside and think about the child who actually is miserable and who actually is suffering. So that's what I tell parents. Think about your child and not all those other things that I named. Dr. Keena is in the building. Dr. Keena is in Chicago delivering all these babies, some of which will have ADHD in the future, and their moms who have ADHD too. We thank you so much, Dr. Keena. I'm so glad to see you here in the building with me. Again, it is an honor to be graced in the place by my colleagues. That makes me feel so warm and fuzzy. Thank you so much. Miss Catrice says, I would love to speak with you one-on-one. Absolutely. Send me a message, Miss Catrice, and we can figure out how we can make that happen. I didn't tell y'all that since we've been absent, guys. I've got licenses coming in. It's either, it wasn't 13. I don't want to stop at 13. So either 14 or 15 states. I think about 6 have already come in. Y'all are the first to hear it here. So I have not made any great announcements, but I am now, of course, South. I am West. I am East. And I'm thinking, am I North? I don't think I have anything North just yet. I will tell you that that's it. So I'll be making some announcements about that. So thank you very much. She says, congratulations. Yes. So wherever you are, I am trying to get to you so that I can bring some of this good news and good word to people in different areas. Miss Stephanie Perry says, that is so awesome. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Miss Auntie Sadie Gresham says, congratulations. Yes, I've been working, guys. I've really been working. Because so often, especially my colleagues, my friends, my doctor friends, other professional folks, they want to bring their folks to me because, guys, here's the deal. Don't tell them I said this, but not everybody cares the way that Dr. Brandy B does. Like, there are a lot of people who are smarter than I am. Not a whole lot, but a few. But not everybody cares like I do. And so I figured there's no reason to be stingy and just share all of this attention and love and knowledge with the folks in Alabama. Let's take this show on the road. And so that is what I decided to do. So thank you for the warm congratulations. All right. Are there any more questions before we go? Auntie Jessie says, I do an amazing and an awesome job. Thank you so very much. I take that as a high regard. I do not take what I do lightly. Not only is it my livelihood and how together with my husband, we feed our 3 kids. Y'all know we got 3 little babies, 3, 5, and 7. That little Faith is something else. She turned 3 Monday, and then John Rodney turned 7 last Wednesday. And then we got another one who's 5. He's in the middle. His birthday is in June, and they're all hoots, y'all. They are all hoots. When they were doing virtual learning last year, remote learning, they were often in here, and you could hear them. But they are back in school, and so I pray for them every day. And guess what? I pray for your students as well, because this is a scary time, and we never know from one day to the next what news we will hear when our children come home. And so I am constantly in prayer for everybody. Of course, my healthcare workers, friends, colleagues, my teacher friends, the colleagues, educators, and just for everybody. So y'all make sure that you stay safe out there. Shindana says, Meharry made, and you know it. We are proud graduates of Meharry Medical College, and I'm so glad for Meharry and the other 2 HBCU medical schools who give people that look like me a chance, right? When other people say, hey, you're not, and I've talked about my story here before, Focus on It Friday. So y'all, if you've not listened to my other lives, you got to go catch up on all of them. They're probably close to 100, if not 100 already. But I've talked about how, someone told me, basically, you'll never get in. You'll never get in. And here I am right now, not only boarded in 1 specialty, but 3 board certifications. And, I don't say that to brag. You all know that about me. But I say that to let you know, and I do not have ADHD, but I say that to let you know that whatever it is that your students, your children aspire to be, it is our duty as parents, as adults, as educators, as people who have interest in children, to make sure that we do all that we can to help them get there. My husband, who's an attorney, so profoundly stated once when we were speaking somewhere that it did not take attorneys to make an attorney. And I would dare say the same thing. It did not take doctors to make a doctor. It didn't take teachers to make a teacher. It didn't take carpenters to make a carpenter. It didn't make plumbers take plumbers to make a plumber. It just takes parents and educators who are interested in children, who believe in them and support them. And that is why I wake up every day that I wake up in my professional life, after giving honor to God. It is to go to work and do the business of making sure that children's lights are not dimmed and that they can shine, and that we do not kill their dreams by not treating their ADHD, because that is exactly what will happen. ADHD, I don't care what anybody says, it is a dream killer. And if you don't believe me, just watch. Just watch. All right, let's see what else we got. Miss King says, congratulations. All right, headed for internationally known. Yes, ma'am, Miss King. You spoke that a long time ago. I appreciate you for your presence in my life and for always being there, supporting and speaking positivity and praying for me. Y'all better get you some people that pray for you when you don't even know the words to say for yourself. Auntie Julia is giving me hand claps. Miss Michelle Scott Short says, hello, everyone. Hello. We are so glad that you are here. If you're just coming in, make sure you go back and catch the replay. Belinda Jones, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. It's always a pleasure to have everyone coming in. And Miss Sadie says, caring about your patients is very important, not just for children, but for adults as well. Absolutely. And Miss Sadie, I have so many kids, I'll say, when they turn 18 at my full-time job, they make them move to the adult side. And what I get when they come back is they're not like you. And I try to warn them as best I can that there aren't many people like me. There just aren't. I actually had a dad last week who told me he did not like psychiatrists. He didn't trust pharmacists. He didn't trust anybody in the medical field. He just didn't trust any of us because of what had happened to him. This was a very short scheduled appointment, but he and I and the child and the child's other parent had already been together 20 minutes over the time that was granted, and I was not rushing them. And in the middle of saying something to him, I said, hey, when was the last time somebody spent this much time with you explaining anything to you? And he said to me, you know, you have a point. I said, so again, and going back to Miss Catrice's point about how do you explain that to parents, sometimes parents have genuine concerns about things that have happened to them in their childhood. And he recalled just being, the words he used were having pills shoved down his throat. And so, you know, I tried to encourage him that if I was already unlike anybody he'd ever encountered, and that I was explaining every single detail of everything from the diagnosis, what it is, why it's important to treat. And by the way, guys, there are lives already recorded on each of these topics. Why it's important to treat ADHD. What are the benefits? How do you tell someone who doesn't want to treat? I've already done that. I've been doing this long enough and have seen enough patients to know what your concerns are. There's one where I talk about drugs and will my kid be on drugs if I treat their ADHD? I've answered all those questions for you. And we will come back around and get to those. But I want you to know, if you just want to binge on Dr. Brandy B for a weekend, I tell you, I'm as good as any Netflix show that you will find. Go, and you'll be getting education that your children will need, and it'll benefit you as a mom. Even stop by and listen to the ones that aren't about ADHD, because some of those get real deep and heavy, and they will be beneficial as well. Let's see what else we got, and then we're going to get out of here. Miss Pamela says, hey, everyone, so happy to be here today. Missed it, but I know it was good. Absolutely. Go back and catch it. It was good. It was good. And she says, congratulations. Thank you so much. Miss Belinda Jones says, I am awesome. Thank you so much. Y'all know I broke down crying one time. A mama told me I was good and that I gave her child back. That was too much for me, y'all. And so I cried right here with you all today. We've got something else that says, I'm so proud of my son. He has applied for 6 colleges and has gotten into all 6. Thankful to God for his success so far. And I am grateful as well. That is absolutely fantastic. We do not take those types of wins for granted. Tell him congratulations, and congratulations to you. That is huge. But since you mentioned that, let me just tell you these two statistics on ADHD. 33% of kids with ADHD never finish high school, and 5 to 10% of kids with ADHD finish college. Only 5 to 10% will finish college. Again, these are kids that can get in. These are kids that can succeed and do well, but they often do not because they are not being treated. So, Miss Michelle, if your son has ADHD or any other learning problems, please make sure that he has the things in place that will help him succeed. And yes, colleges have make accommodations. So if your child has an IEP, that can continue into college and beyond. So let's make sure that we are doing what we can to support our children. All right. Anything else before we get out of here? Anything else before we get out of here? Okay. Well, y'all know I love y'all. I really do. If you have any questions, go into my inbox at Dr. Brandy B. If you are a patient, your child is a patient, and you have a question about your child's medication, do not send those to my inbox. And please do not send me about any urgent, emergent situation, because guess what? I do not check that inbox regularly. Please call the office where your child is seen. Nurses are standing by, and I've got the most fabulous nurses on the planet, hands down. I will go toe to toe with anybody in any office to talk about my nurses. They're going to take care of you, and you really want them taking care of you and not me, okay? Not me. I give the orders and I sign them, but whatever magic happens in between, I have no idea. So if you call me and tell me about something that needs to happen, it may not. And I'm being honest with you. All right. I'm going to get out of here. It's Friday. Please wash your hands, wear your mask, y'all. This Omicron variant is very contagious and people are still dying, y'all. So don't be confused. Don't be misled. People are still dying, even in these times where we are vaccinated. So please get vaccinated if you have not already. There is no question about whether or not you need to do it. It's safe. I don't have any extra appendages, arms, hands. All of my doctor friends on here have been vaccinated. The majority of the people that I know have been vaccinated. I can't really name anybody that I know in my close circle that has not. And we're still doing all right. And we're still alive. But be safe, wash your hands, wear your mask. If you can, get a KN95 or an N95. Let's stay healthy so we can be here next week. Make sure you treat that baby's ADHD. And I will put the link in here for Shine in case someone says that they still need it, so that you can get a signed copy of Shine, Understanding ADHD so your child can be a star. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I love y'all. I will see y'all next week. This was lots of fun. Y'all know I missed y'all when I was away resting and recuperating. Make sure you pray for everybody. Just pray for everybody. And make sure you smile at somebody, because somebody that you encounter today, unfortunately, is going to be down about one thing or another. And your smile, your kind gesture, your kind word, just holding the door for them, helping them across the street, may be the one thing that keeps them from doing something awful to themselves, or keeps them from being able to feel that they can go on and live a great life. You have that much power. It rests in you. I love y'all, and I will see you next week. Until next time, I am Dr. Brandy B, your triple board certified child and adolescent psychiatrist. And through my Facebook live stream, what you just listened to and witness, or you'll catch on the replay, Focus on It Friday, through my books, through my speaking engagements, through anything that I do. I am a walking advocate for treating ADHD, because I believe that children can be successful in the classroom and in life. We just have to make sure that we turn on the light switch so that they can shine. See y'all next week, and thank you for coming. Bye.